The San Francisco Bay Area, home to the biggest high-tech companies and the capital of the world when it comes to artificial intelligence. So it's no surprise that the city is now a testbed for the large-scale deployment of a fascinating new technology, the driverless car. A handful of operators have deployed their vehicles here, including GM subsidiary Cruise and Waymo, owned by Alphabet, Google's parent company. Robotaxis have been operating commercially here since last summer and are now part of the city landscape. Of course, we can't really talk about robotaxis, about driverless cars, without trying one, so we thought we'd give it a go. Come on in.
Hi, Jean-François.
Waymo has been testing autonomous vehicles here since 2009. These cars are loaded with sensors of all kinds: laser detectors, ultrasound, radar, cameras. The data collected over the years has allowed the machine to learn to drive like humans. But driving in San Francisco is quite a challenge, with its steep climbs, blind crossings, and winding hillside streets. The city is a handful. We can see that our car just waited for the incoming traffic to pass before making its way and turning left. So I must admit that it's fairly efficient at detecting obstacles and avoiding them and navigating through the very complicated streets of San Francisco. So past the initial apprehension and curiosity of seeing the steering wheel turn by itself, I must admit that it's fairly close to the normal experience we'd get in a normal taxi, except of course that there's no driver and no tip. In less than a year, the service has become very popular. Edwin Carrillo is an enthusiastic first-time user.
This is definitely very different. Like you're a passenger, there's nobody in front of you, so it's a little bit weird. But yeah, it was good.
Claudia Navoa now wouldn't do without it.
It's just quick, it's easy. When you're not feeling social, you don't have to talk a lot. I think that's one of the benefits.
But not everyone is happy. Unsurprisingly, cab drivers are highly critical. Like Tom, who's been driving in San Francisco for over 20 years.
I don't like them because they take away my business. And anyway, who invents that sort of thing? What's the whole point of inventing that? You know what I mean? A driverless car? What's that? Is that for people who just don't want any human contact for the rest of their life?
Medic 571, Control 2.
The firefighters also have their doubts, starting with Darius Luttrop, Deputy Head of Operations, for good reason. Incidents are multiplying.
The San Francisco Fire Department set up a reporting process. We started capturing the information in May of last year, and we're up to 90-something reports.
90 incidents?
90 incidents just between our fire vehicles and AVs, yes.
Many of these incidents are of no consequence. Some are even amusing.
The ones that kind of strike me as the funniest is when they group up and they all end up in the same place, where they'll have a communication error and then all of a sudden the whole street will be full of them all at the same time and they all break down at the same time.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4 cruise cars blocking. No one can get through.
But other cases are more problematic, like when robotaxis stand in the way of fire trucks or even collide with them, a situation that prompted the fire department to file a complaint.
My firefighters who are driving equipment in these streets, they're fairly unflappable. They've seen a lot of things, and when they are complaining about the behaviors of these cars, I have to take it seriously and address it.
Another problem is that California law only allows officers to find a human driver, not a machine, not even its owner.
So if I needed to enforce somebody who is blocking a lane of travel, for instance, I could say, okay, you get a ticket, you're towed, that's done. You can't do that with the robotaxi.
Earlier this year, a Waymo car hit a cyclist, causing minor injuries. Last fall, a car from Cruise even hit a pedestrian that had already been struck by another car, dragging the victim over 6 meters. The incident led crews to suspend operations. So, many activists in San Francisco have started expressing their disagreement by stopping robotaxis with traffic cones, a tactic they call coning.
We see these not as some new revolutionary mode of transportation, but just as another way to entrench car dominance. It's a big problem that San Francisco itself wasn't involved in the discussion about whether these would be on our streets. So it's good to see people talking about it.
Some even went so far as to set fire to a Waymo car in downtown San Francisco. Cruise and Waymo both declined our repeated requests for interviews, but claimed that their cars have covered millions of miles without problems and are safer than real drivers. In any case, Waymo's arguments seem to have convinced the California authorities, who have just authorized the company to extend its operations to freeways and to the city of Los Angeles. As for the rest of the world, it's probably only a matter of time.